Hi Stampers, happy Friday. I'm Meg from LovenStamps and this is Maker Mornings with Meg. I have a Makeover Friday card for you. So we are going to start with a card idea and then we're going to make it over to use some of the things that are sneak peeks from the new catalog and some things that are currently available. So if you love today's card, don't worry, you don't have to wait until May 3rd to make the most of it. But I'm going to show you two versions, one that works for right now and one that works in May if you are a stamper awaiting the new book. So, all right, so we have actually notifications this morning, so that's good. Hi, everybody. Good to see you. Hey, Carol and Kathy and everybody who's here already this morning. So, Sandy, got your coffee out there on the West Coast, right? I totally get how that happens. Hey, Tanya. All right, so I think with that, the piece that I am going to show you right now is the stamp set that we're going to feature. So this is Kite Delight, and Kite Delight is in the January through June book. So it's in this one right here. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and use this for a great card. Sometimes I lose track of stamp sets that are not bundled with a punch or bundled with a die set. And this is one of those that's easy to overlook. But it is so useful and it's very universal. You can make this kind of card for anyone, young, old, guy cards, girl cards, just really, you know, everyone has birthdays, right? So this is a great one for lots of different ones. And it also includes some sort of friendship words. Your friendship is so uplifting, which is kind of a nice thing to share with somebody, a nice sentiment. Speaking of uplifting things, my daughter was honored this morning at her high school's Breakfast of Champions as one of 4 kids to just be recognized for their just outstanding awesomeness. So anyway, we are excited for her. It's been an early morning here. So with that, let us get started with with our card here. So I'm going to show you the inspiration card. So usually I promise to stop moving my camera. Usually I don't show you the card that we are starting with. Usually we kind of build it together, but I'm going to go ahead and show you our starting point here because one of the things that I think is a really great thing for stampers to be able to do is to take a card and then recreate it with things that you have on hand or a different color scheme or something like that to just customize it for what you want. So we can pretend that this card was, you know, a card that you got from the catalog idea or from watching Maker Mornings with Meg episode. This is one of my designs, but this card featured designer series paper, which will soon be retiring. It's the Pattern Party paper, and it is the one that you can get. There's a zillion. It's like a 48 sheet pack, and it's, you know, black and white on one side and colored on the other. And one of the things that I love about this paper is that you can get it with your Stampin Rewards when your order is $150 or more, or if you host a party and collect orders for $150 or more. But this paper whole pack is $18, which makes it a really, really great staple to have on hand because you're just going to want to use it for everything. So the sneak peek paper that I'm going to show you is the new Hostess paper. And sorry for flapping it around here. It is called Design a Daydream. And it features a different color scheme, but also the same kind of nice, flexible colors and backgrounds that you can use for lots of stuff, including those little bicycles and pinwheels and kites. Look at this. It's got kites in it. So you know what? When you've got kites, you make a kite card. So we're going to go ahead and cut a piece of this. Now, one of my favorite card layouts to design is a really simple 3x4 DSP card. And so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a 3-inch strip here, and then I'm going to cut it into 4-inch sections, which gives me a set of these 3x4 DSP pieces, which are really easy to use for lots of different things. Let's see. Tanya says Facebook is weird with comments. Huh. That's so weird. I don't know. Is anybody else having trouble commenting? I see highs from Trish and Melissa and Cindy and Carol and everybody. Sorry, Tanya. sometimes there's some weirdnesses, right? We're just used to it by now. Anyway, we are gonna start with these 3x4 papers. And so what I wanna do is go ahead and pick colors to go with this. And I decided to pick my colors based on the paper in the pattern, oh gosh, I forgot what it's called already, Design and Daydream paper. So in here we have a blue Pool Party, and we have a deep purple Blackberry Bliss. So I kind of like these colors together. Stampin' Up! Artists put them in the paper right next to each other, so I'm gonna go with that, and they do nicely together. But then I'm never sure which direction I want to go. Do I want to make my little 3x4 layer from the darker and then base it on a light card? So here would be that version. And this is what I do when I'm designing a card. I test the things out. So what if I make my card layer out of Pool Party and then base it on a Blackberry Bliss card? This feels a little bit better to me. It feels like I have the dark outside, which is kind of focusing attention on this light. When I switch it this way, I feel like it's almost like the camera is going woo, 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 the camera of your eye of your camera, just because you go light, dark. So sometimes it's a really great way to make something stand out, but I'm going to go, I think, with this morning. Okay, so I've got a Blackberry Bliss card base, and I have a 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 sheet to go ahead and put this here. Now, I'm going to hold off on attaching those because we want to design a little bit of our card here, and we might change things up. So a lot of times when I go with a card design starting point, I will kind of change up some colors. We've already talked about that, but I might change up the shapes and so forth just a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this kite. I'm gonna go with a larger one. We're gonna pop this one up here someplace. And let's see, I think I'm gonna use the same idea of stamping it and cutting it out. So let's go with that. When you have a set like this where the stamp lines are so nice and straight, it makes it pretty easy to just go ahead and use a pair of paper snips to cut along here. So I'm gonna go here and just cut. Now, the snip blades are a little bit short, but ideally I want to cut long strokes. So I don't wanna go snip, 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 like, that's the sound effect you should make though, if you do that. You wanna go long cuts as much as possible because that gives you the smoothest edge, okay? So you want to get all the way out there, okay? Feel free to make your own sound effects if you need something a little bit different. But we have our kite here now. And I think the die set that I used for this one is my super favorite, currently available. You guys have heard me talk about it a zillion times. It is Stitched So Sweetly, which I use even to make like those little boxes. Do you remember this little box video? Let me grab this one here. These guys that fit the chocolate, the Ghirardelli, or the, not Ghirardelli, what are those circle ball candies called? They come in all the flavors. Anyway, 2 of these fit in here. Whatever those things are called. Leave me a comment if you can remember. I can't right now. But this project features the Stitch So Sweetly dies, which will soon be retiring. So don't miss these if you don't have them. But coming in the new catalog are the stylish shape dies, which I've already told you are going to be a staple for me, and I found myself reaching for them again today. So instead of this rectangle here, I thought, well, what if we use a circle in this card? So what if we pop on a circle here? So this would be pretty big, right? It covers up a lot of the paper, although it would give us lots of area to stamp. I kind of like that idea. If I use a smaller one, it would cover up less of the paper, but our greeting stamp just would barely fit on there. So let's see, I have that possibility, or I could use the same sort of horizontal line concept out of this. Oh, Tanya says Lind chocolates. Yes, thank you. The Lindor truffles, that's right. Just took a little nudge for me to remember. So this horizontal line here, what if I use this die and pop this on, and then instead of stamping the clouds and the so forth in the background or in in the black, what if I stamp them on the background? So now is when I'm happy that I didn't put my pieces together. Now, one little bit of a trick here is that this die is really wide. So I'm going to show you another trick. If you want to use a die that is just a little bit too big for your card, I'm going to show you how to make it smaller, even when it has a custom edge like this one here. So let's kind of place this out. I'm going to still put my card element, my kite way over here. And I think, to make my stem go off the side. So we're going to go ahead and pull these layers back apart so that we can stamp our kite tail. So I'm going to grab the kite tail, and I'm going to do this in the same color as the clouds. So I'm going to go with that same design idea that I used earlier. And this is mint macaron, which explains why my sample looked so green. Huh. I was thinking, man, the green really comes out here. Okay, so let's bring Pool Party, which will look a little bit less green. Although when you put blue on yellow, you do get a little bit of a green tint to things. So if you look at the, there's a picture with the supply list. So the link to the supplies for this is in the video description. And if you look at that, you can see the green version of these tails. Okay, so I'm going to ink up my Pool Party here and kind of place this. I'm going to move it out of the way and then stamp my Pool Party tails there. Ah, yes. Okay, I like that much better. All right, and then I'm going to take my cloud, which was formerly inked in mint macaron, and pull this over. I can't remember, I did something just recently with those colors. And I'm going to go ahead and use my kite as a guide so that I can figure out where I might want to place my clouds. There we go. Okay, I'm going to leave some space over here because this is where my greeting is going to go. Let's see, we look good with this? All right, coming together here. Now, let's talk about this greeting. So like I said, I want it to be shorter than the full length. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my dark color like I did here. So again, even though I'm changing up the colors, I am kind of keeping them associated. So like where this Pacific Point was, the dark Pacific Point, I'm using the dark Blackberry Bliss. Where the light Coastal Cabana was, I'm using the light Pool Party, okay? Let's see, so we have our greeting, and I am going to pop this on here, and I want it to be kind of out here. I'm going to give myself some extra space, and we have our beautiful stamped image, and now I need to die cut this. So don't panic if you've noticed that there's not enough space on here. So I'm going to bring in my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss, which is my go-to when I have just a small element like this. Now, if you are having trouble with your Stampin' Cut and Emboss, make sure that you're staggering the plates when you put them through. I know I've talked about that before, but sometimes I think we have this tendency to want to stack everything and make it all line up. It can be a little tricky for the machine to grab that, so you're better off to stagger the plates. So I've got like little space in there and go from there. All right, so first cut, I'm gonna do this in 2 cuts, which is gonna give us the exact custom size of the die we want. So this is a great trick for making custom size dies when you want. So I'm actually gonna go over on the first one. So I kind of have a space in the sandwich in the middle, which helps it really grab easily. So, all right, so we've got that through, and get my ink pad out of the way. So now I have an element here which is cut, and honestly, if you forget how to do this trick, you could just use it like this. But instead, I'm gonna go ahead and do our custom die cut trick, which is to go ahead and slide this back on. And when you have a stitched die like this, it actually makes it really pretty simple because the stitches line up, they really grab in the die, grabs into the paper. Does that make sense? Okay. And I'm gonna do just like that. And so it's not hard to line up because it's already grabbed on there. And then I'm going to tape it, and I want my tape to be on this side here so that it keeps it in place. There we go, and just drop it back in. And then again, put my cut plates through, not lined up. Okay. And when I come to the other side, I have, ta-da, our die cut, our custom die cut elements. So be careful about pulling this washi tape off. There we go. All right. So you can see how it really makes a die set like this one, or even the currently available Stitch So Sweetly dies, which I put away here in my drawer and now I can't find. Anyway, you can make custom size dies out of them. So don't look at your die set and think, oh, that grading's too wide or too tall or whatever. A lot of times you can customize your sizing. All right, so let's bring this back in here. I'm gonna overlap like this. We have, I want more of my tail to show there. And I'm gonna bring this pool party back in, which really makes our clouds jump out, okay? And then I'm gonna bring the contrast color underneath, which is gonna make our greeting jump out, okay? So you can really see where this card was our inspiration, but we've kind of changed it up a little bit to make, just take advantage of the elements that we have available to us today. So let's go ahead and start putting these things together. I'm gonna use my Stampin' Seal to go ahead and pop some adhesive on the back, and then I'm gonna pop this layer up with some Stampin' Dimensionals, just adding that extra layer of shadow that comes from having an extra space in between can really give kind of a nice line of demarcation there that just really shows off elements just a little bit even more to their advantage. And then I'm gonna go ahead and space out our greeting. So I need it to not go off the edge of the card. Let's see, which puts me kind of about there. So then I might just pop this on here, which lets me set down my tag and line that up, okay? And then I'm gonna pop a dimensional on the back of this one, which lets me go ahead and line it up here. And I'm gonna make it sort of a jaunty angle there. So a little bit different from the angle that I used on this card here. Now, I know you're looking at this and thinking we need some bling. So the bling that I was flipping through and trying to decide what I wanted to use, I was thinking actually that Iridescent Rhinestones Basic Jewels, they are back in the store. They sold out immediately when they first debuted because they're so beautiful. And I'm gonna call them like the universal donor of rhinestone jewels because they match everything because of the great sort of iridescent coloring on them. So here we have our, remember, open your packages from the side, one of my favorite all-time tricks. So you can pull out your stuff and then easily put it back in without messing with this little adhesive strip on the back. But these would be a really fun bling element for this. But then I was thinking, oh, I wonder if there's something from the last chance list that would be available with that great discount price. And so the In Color Jewels, these are the 21-23 In Color Jewels. So these are the colors that are continuing. Yes, these are the colors that are continuing. I had to think about that hard. So these are a fun, 2020, yeah, okay. Like looking over my shoulder at the colors and trying to remember what's going on here. Anyway, these are a really great choice for lots of different colors, and these yellows here are gonna match nicely. So I'm gonna grab my Take Your Pick tool, and I usually like to sort of weight the jewels that I use with like some heavy weight on the bottom and then let them be kind of light and airy as we go up. So I'm gonna use this here as our focal point. So that's where I'm gonna pop my jewels around. We've spent a lot of time talking about jewels and how to figure out where to put them. So there is our jewels for this one. And actually I realized this card doesn't have any jewels. So I think I'll add, I kind of like these lighter bluey ones. So I'm gonna pop some of these on this card since everything probably needs jewels, right? Okay, I'm gonna pop, oops, I lost that one. Let's see, I'm gonna go down here. So that sort of connects our kite to our greeting. So there we have our two cards with different kind of elements a little bit. I used the same stamp set, but I changed up our colors. I changed up the location of our greeting as far as the size of that paper is. And we changed up some little elements of our layering and so forth. So you can see some common things between the two cards, right? We use the same shape layout, we use the same stamp set, but a lot of things are good ideas for how you can adapt from an idea that you see in catalog or on a Maker Mornings with Meg video and create something that uses, you know, what you have on hand and so forth. So, all right. Wow. So that was actually kind of a quick Friday. We got through those pretty rapidly. And honestly, when I sit down to make a card and I don't have a ton of time, that's really how I sit down and go a lot. I'll find an idea in a catalog, or I'll find an idea from a past project that I did, and I will kind of make it over using the same kind of ideas. So use those same tricks to work on your own cards. I hope that you guys have a wonderful weekend planned, that your Friday is off to a great start. I mean, you're watching Stamping, right? What can be more fun than that? But go ahead and make some cards and send a card. So don't just make them and keep them, but make them and send them. Share that little bit of joy with someone who could really, use a smile in their life, or so forth. So. And if there are things that you saw today that are sneak peeks that you just think, oh my gosh, I absolutely need that. The sneak peeks that I showed are available right now on demonstrator pre-orders or as part of your demonstrator starter kit. So you can learn more about becoming demonstrator on my LovenStamps.com website under Join My Team. And you can go ahead and order your starter kit and get the sneak peek items in it. The stylish shapes dies, which are, like I said, going to be my new favorite, and the Design and Daydream. I remembered it. Designer series paper. So keep an eye for those sneak peeks coming soon. Otherwise, they'll be available starting May 3rd, and catalogs to my customers are in the mail and received by a lot of people. So if you haven't gotten yours yet, and you're one of my customers, you think that you should have gotten a catalog, send me a note so that I can double check and make sure that everything is correct there. So, all right, I don't want anyone to miss out. And if you would really like a copy of the new paper catalog and you don't have a demonstrator you work with, you can request a catalog on my website at LovenStamps.com under catalogs, under shopping and catalogs, you can request one. So, all right, guys, have a fabulous Friday, a wonderful weekend, and I will be back on Monday with more Maker Mornings with Meg. Think warm thoughts this weekend. We have all kinds of like soccer games and track meets and orchestra concerts and the musical Fiddler on the Roof. If you happen to be local to Central Illinois and you would like to see a fabulous musical, Fiddler on the Roof is playing at Mahomet Seymour High School, and you can get tickets for that online. So my daughter is in that, and we will look forward to seeing her too. So all fun this weekend. Have a great one, and I will be back on Monday with another card for Maker Mornings with Meg. Bye guys, thanks for joining me.